All right, good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening, whenever you're tuning into this. Let's talk about what we're doing this week. First, I've very much enjoyed reading over all your discussion board postings. I think things there are going very well. We've got some very interesting people in this class, and they're expressing the interesting things they're doing on our discussion boards. That's been wonderful. So, as we talked about last week, I believe, when we have discussion boards, of course, when you should be thinking there, typically going over an exercise, something, report out on what you're doing with that exercise. You've gone through the exercise. What's your score? Anything a little more attention to that would be good. And then based on that, you can jump into some other stuff. And then, of course, summary comments are always good for the points of interest discussion board at the end. So bring your A game there. As we talked about, A players like to deal with other A players, and so make sure everything you're posting qualifies as an A player. And for the most part, I think things there are going very well. All right, so we got 2 chapters in this particular week, as well as an exam. Let's talk about those briefly. I promise to keep it short if it's possible for a professor to do such a thing. The first chapter we'll look at, first module, looks at basically the strategic management process. And this is always fun. Of course, top managers, leaders, and organizations need to set a strategic direction. Of course, this is best done with consultation of others, operational plans, strategic plans, and we'll talk about, the chapter will go over all of those components of the strategic management process. We've got a couple good exercises also looking at goals. I'm especially interested in the one looking at what your plans are 5 years out. I've got a great video segment here, a guy named Guy Kawasaki. Hopefully I'm pronouncing it more or less correctly. I've seen him speak in person, very dynamic individual, and really a guru of strategic management thought about within the entrepreneurial context. So I hope you enjoy him and his presentation at Stanford. Our second module, that of course you'll get to later in the week or start of next on Monday or so, whenever you're doing it, is looks at organizational structure and design. As I expressed, this is perhaps not my favorite chapter, but it's an extremely important one at the same time, about how you organize work, who's going to do what, who reports to whom. All these things are actually fascinating questions, and we're going to look at the basics of those in that particular module. Got an exercise or 2, actually also looking at power. Power is a good thing. We need to exercise power in organizations to accomplish goals, so we'll look at that. This organizational structure and design is particularly interesting to me. As you may or may not know, our university is going through a consolidation. We formed a new university. We're going to be consolidating with University of Texas at Brownsville, University of Texas Pan Am, and we're adding a medical school here, and so we're going to have really 3 separate branches, but they're not going to be separate, and we're just going through the process here within the state of Texas, within the UT system, with people here on campus, about basically these organizational structure and design questions. How are you going to get these 2 entities, which have operated separately for the last 20 plus years, working together? We have 1 curriculum, 2 curriculums. We have 1 dean for a business school or 2 business school deans, 1 provost, 2 provosts. We know we're going to have 1 president over these 3 institutes, 3 branches, but we don't know how any of this is going to work. So we're just in the process of, from an organizational design and structure standpoint, figuring this out. So this particular chapter, this particular module is particularly relevant to some of the challenges that we're facing here at the university. So I'm fascinated by this, and hopefully you're fascinated also. All right, so other things we have going on here. We have our first exam. This is going to be, I'm going to put it out there in post this Sunday. It's going to be due the following Sunday by midnight. This is going to be very applications oriented. I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to be asking, but typically for these we'll present a case of a particular company, then ask you to basically apply what you've learned from the various chapters and provide insight, solve problems within the company that is profiled. All right, what else we got? I think that's it. Into week 3. hope you're enjoying yourself. I hope you're learning good stuff. I've certainly enjoyed, again, reading your discussion posts. And we've got some bright people in this class. Make sure, of course, that you're hitting the deadlines and you're bringing your A game. All right, have a great week. Let me know if you have questions.